Hello, my name is Rich Walling, lifelong resident of East Brunswick, and today I'm joined by Reverend Karen Johnston, Mavonia Caldwell, and Miss Toni Hendricks to talk about the Lost Souls Public Memorial Project, about a time and an event that happened right here in our town of East Brunswick. So, Reverend Karen, why don't you give a little bit of background about the Lost Souls Public Memorial Project, and we'll just go on from there.
Sure. 200 years ago this year, 1818, a horrible event happened, actually a series of events, where a corrupt Middlesex County judge used and abused his power and sold away 138, probably more, African Americans, taking away their freedom, selling them to the Deep South. They were from this area, from this region, but he lived in East Brunswick. And we at the Lost Souls Public Memorial Project are trying to make sure that those folks who are members of our community are remembered back, that we build a memorial so that that history is not erased, but remembered as part of the healing of our national project. And so it's amazing that we have this opportunity right here to be able to do that. So all year we have been having events to educate the community, and we have an amazing event coming up really soon.
Super. And just for folks to know, behind me and between Toni and myself is a list, a partial list of the people who were taken, many of whom were children and very young adults. So it's really an incredible period of our local history that folks don't know. And then we have, of course, on December 16th, a very special program, a Day of Remembrance. Mavonia, why don't you talk about that for a moment?
The Day of Remembrance is going to be right here at the library on the 16th, as you say, from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Its intent is to do just that, to remember the people who were here and to bring them back to the community where they would have lived over time. We have the opportunity to partner with wonderful groups who will be part of our celebration of life, really, here. The New Jersey State Council on the Humanities have given us a grant to educate the community and to help us to bring the lost souls back. We will have an afternoon that will feature poetry and dance and literary readings, and someone really who can trace her ancestry right back to one of the people who were snatched away. So it will be an afternoon where we have the opportunity to just reflect on how inhumane the circumstances were, but how we have the opportunity to bring redress, to remember, to bring justice, to make sure that our families who would have been here are never forgotten.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you mentioned the genealogist who'll be speaking, Theresa Vega from Manhattan. She is a world-renowned genealogist. She has a blog. She's been on TV spots with Ancestry.com and other groups and organizations. And she has been able to link genetically with several people in the Deep South who are related through DNA with her. And she'll be talking about that linkage. So not only remembering people across time, but also across the distance between the Northeast where we are and the Deep South, with this, the ending of these lives occurred, unfortunately.
Exactly. And we don't really know how many of us would have been associated with the people who were stolen away. Our history was stolen as they were stolen. So we are glad to have Theresa with us, and the rest of us can sort of think about what might have been.
Absolutely. Now, Toni, I know you're active in very many organizations, some of which are involved with this program and with the whole Lost Souls Public Memorial Project. What would you like to share with us today?
Well, today I'm here representing the New Brunswick area branch of the NAACP as the Civic Engagement Chair. And we are very, very proud to partner with the Unitarian Society of East Brunswick, with the African American Genealogy Society, with the East Brunswick Human Relations Commission, and many other community members, and forgive me for not having them all right at the tip of my tongue. But we are very, very honored to participate in this wonderful program that May has put together here at the library. What a wonderful space to tell the history. The history that we'll be talking about actually predates the beginning of the NAACP by over 100 years. So we are pleased that there's a program being brought to the public that doesn't just start with the modern day civil rights movement, but highlights the history of this state as it relates to the African American population.
And Reverend Karen, just for a moment, why East Brunswick again? Can you drive that point home, why we're doing it here, specifically in East Brunswick?
Absolutely. So the corrupt judge who benefited financially and with his power, who was the cause of these stolen lives, he had a home here in East Brunswick, and he was a Middlesex County judge. So this, even though this impacts the region, it's part of the history, it is something that we have an accountability to raise up and to make sure is not forgotten. One of the things that I'm really excited about on December 16th, the event that's happening here at the library, that Mavoni is our primary organizer, is that we'll be looking at some of the design concepts that have been developed, because one of the things that the grant from the New Jersey Council for the Humanities has given us a chance is this year is to walk out this idea to community members, to get input and impressions about how can we best honor these lives and bring them back here. Right. And so I'm really hoping that a lot of people from East Brunswick, from Middlesex County, come to this event December 16th, 2 p.m., because there's going to be, like you said, singing and poetry and just a lot of amazing engagement, but also this chance to talk about the concepts for the design of this memorial.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, May, Reverend Karen mentioned that at the program on December 16th, some of the artistic representations will be available, but they're not the only ones. Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yes. One of the things we're happy about is the opportunity to solicit responses from other artists or groups who may well have some suggestions and some participation in the way that the final design will be decided and executed. And
it's important that the displays or the monuments that will come in the future will contain the names of the lost souls. Yes. So. Yes, it's an African tradition to name people to keep them alive. And that is one of the things we'll be doing in creative ways on the afternoon of the 16th. You will hear the names of the people who we can still find in our history, and we'll speak them and bring them to life. It's very powerful that they will be remembered. And so we hope that you will be able to join us on December 16th for this Day of Remembrance of the Lost Souls, something that happened here in East Brunswick, but that affected not only their generation, but their generation that echoes down to the present day. So thank you very much. Thank you, Rich.